Compared to the speed with which his thoughts and worries flew through Art's mind, their flight to the forest of Elshire felt agonizingly slow. When he wasn't glancing back toward the beast army, nearly overwhelmed with guilt at leaving the troops and his family behind at the wall, his focus was fixed on the bright path of mana that carved a road straight toward what he suspected was the heart of the Elenoir kingdom. "What sort of spell is capable of such a thing?" his bond asked as they followed the markers, which shone even through the thick layer of fog blanketing the forest below. He wasn't entirely sure, but seeing how the trail zigzagged around various points leading north, he doubted it was a single powerful spell. It seemed more like an accumulation of the same spell, layered repeatedly to create a path. It was only speculation, more hope than certainty. The thought of an enemy mage capable of nullifying the ambient magic of the forest with a single conjuration sent a chill through him, and he urged Sylvie to fly just a bit faster. It was already unbearable to think that something might happen to his family, or one of the twin horns, but the fear of not reaching Tess in time left him sick and clammy. After another hour scouring the forest, following the crooked path of mana that marked the way through Elshire, Art finally spotted signs of a battle in the distance. Mana fluctuations were visible even above the thick canopy of trees below them, but they were old. The fighting had already ended, and from this distance, it was impossible to tell which side had emerged victorious. Sensing the shift in his emotions, Sylvie dove closer to the forest, rapidly approaching the location Art had imprinted into their shared awareness. As they neared the battleground, however, a figure hovering above the blanket of trees and fog caught their attention. Art felt Sylvie's fear and anxiety bleed into him as she halted more than 50 feet away, before transforming into her human form. He had already suspected who, or what, it was when he noticed that the floating figure carried no mana signature. But seeing the familiar silhouette up close, clad in black armor with a purple cloak billowing behind him, confirmed it. Compared to the oppressive tidal wave that was Uto, this man was the eye of a terrible storm, just like his master. "Silrit," Art said simply. "Lance." Despite his impatience, Art exchanged a glance with Sylvie, who already had mana coalescing around her in preparation for a fight. He was at a loss. His instincts urged him to fight. Silrit was an enemy. But at the same time, the scythe he served had saved Art's life, and was the reason Sylvie and he had been able to advance past their respective bottlenecks. "Are we to fight?" Art asked, hesitant despite himself. "I have been instructed to keep you from advancing further," Silrit replied simply, his expression unchanged. "And if I were to say that I have to advance?" Art demanded, preparing to release Realmheart once again. Silrit's sharp eyes narrowed, but his voice remained calm. He said it was for Art's benefit. His master wished to keep him in optimal health for the final battle, but taking part in the defense of the Elven Kingdom could make that difficult. "Cirrus said this was for my benefit?" Art said, surprised. Silrit warned him not to speak his master's name so casually. Though his voice did not change, a sharp bloodlust surged from him at the mention of the scythe. Matching the pressure Silrit emanated with his own, Art glowered down at him as he spoke. "Watch your tone, Silrit. I chose to exchange words with you out of courtesy toward your master." "Courtesy?" The Vritra's expression darkened. "Master Sarah saved your life. I suggest you heed her words and clean up the mess you've abandoned back at your fortress, as intended." "We're going to Elenoir," Art stated firmly, his eyes never leaving Silrit's. "Knowing how to sacrifice is a part of war," Silrit said, his tone calm once again. "Wasting your efforts here won't help you, even if you manage to succeed in defending Elenoir." "You think I don't know that?" Art growled, unable to hold back. The wind stilled, and the air grew so thick it was almost tangible. Beside him, Art could feel the worry from his bond, but in that moment, he didn't care. He had already sacrificed lives at the wall by making this journey, and he couldn't let that sacrifice be in vain. A lecture on the necessities of war from a creature that could still turn out to be his enemy would not dissuade him. The Vritra's brows furrowed in frustration. "Go back, Lance. If you want even a chance of saving Dickathan, you should worry about bigger things." Art flew forward until he was face to face with the Vritra. "Move aside, Silrit. You're mistaken if you think you can keep us both here. A lot has changed since our fight against Uto." Cirrus's retainer held out his arm, and a thick black fog swirled around his outstretched hand, manifesting into a pitch-black greatsword nearly as long as he was tall. "Very well," Silrit said. "If you insist on fighting, allow me to prove you wrong." Art, Sylvie, and Silrit hovered above the canopy of trees. He gripped Dawn's ballad tightly, weighing his options, none of them appealing. Despite Sylvie's recent growth, she couldn't handle Silrit alone, and she still hadn't located Tess in the magical fog blanketing Elshire Forest. The fastest solution was to end the fight quickly, but expending too much energy now could weaken him for the battles still to come. "Sylvie, I'm pretty confident I can beat Silrit on my own, but if his goal is to stall, an extended fight works in his favor. Let's finish this, together." Even at full speed, executing his sharp, precise movements in midair was difficult. "I agree," Sylvie confirmed, mana already coalescing around her at an extraordinary rate. A solid panel of condensed mana formed beneath Art's feet, giving him a platform to fight from. Silrit remained expressionless, lifting his greatsword into a defensive stance as Art closed the distance. He focused on a point 3 paces in front of Silrit, while Sylvie conjured another translucent panel beneath his right foot, allowing for a rapid change in direction. Silrit's eyes calmly followed his movements, his sword steady. Dawn's ballad whistled through the air towards Silrit's chest, but the teal blade jerked off course, clashing against the retainer's pitch-black greatsword. It felt as though Dawn's ballad were being pulled by an invisible hand into the massive weapon. The pull vanished after the clash, but as soon as Art swung again, the same force yanked his blade towards Silrit's sword. Frustration mounting, he activated the first phase of his beast will. Static Void. The world inverted around Art, freezing everything but himself in place. He pressed the broken tip of Dawn's ballad into a gap in Silrit's motionless armor, then released the spell. Even at point-blank range, his sword veered off, barely nicking the retainer and leaving Art drained. "Damn it," he thought, grinding his teeth. Sylvie reacted instantly, conjuring another platform beneath his feet, letting him quickly put distance between himself and Silrit. His breathing came in ragged gasps. Static Void was a spell passed down from Sylvia, but it relied on manipulating Evum, a force incompatible with his mastery of ether. Even as a white core mage, using it for any extended period was exhausting. "I was taught of the various mana arts forged by the Asura clans, including the ether arts of the Indrath clan. Experiencing it firsthand, though, I can see why it's feared," Silrit said, glancing down at the minor wound. Art ignored the words, nudging his bond mentally. "Sylvie, fire a few shots behind him." "Got it." Just as arrows of mana formed in the air behind Silrit, Art unleashed a blast of frost and a bolt of lightning. The ice spread into a wide cone while the lightning arced to cover the retainer, but the attacks were absorbed without effect. With a single sweep of his black greatsword, Silrit devoured both spells completely. Sylvie snorted in irritation. What a troublesome ability. Impatience surged through Art as he watched Silrit remain motionless, casually reading a small scroll. When the retainer looked up, his gaze shifted from Sylvie to Art. "One of my scouts has confirmed that the Elven Princess has been withdrawn from battle." "Do you honestly expect me to believe you and just walk away?" Art spat. Worried that Silrit's mana absorption might damage Dawn's ballad, Art sheathed the sword and condensed layer upon layer of ice to form 2 reinforced blades. He rushed toward Silrit again, the icy weapons gleaming. Silrit's cold eyes narrowed as Art closed in. The blades clashed with the black greatsword, sending a shockwave of pressure rippling outward. Even with the reinforced ice, several cracks appeared from the impact. Art mended the cracked surfaces of his ice swords and launched into a flurry of cuts, feints, and counters. Each swing was met with the same resistance. Silrit's black greatsword always redirected his blades mid-motion, forcing Art to adjust constantly. Hoping to exploit a slight delay in the gravitational pull of the weapon, He abandoned the current ice swords and quickly conjured new ones, striking again and again. Each attempt met the same result, but Art persisted. "If your master is really on our side, this is a meaningless battle, Silrit," he growled, releasing another conjured sword while shooting a blast of fire at the retainer's legs. That was when he sensed it, a subtle shift within Silrit's weapon. Not visible to the naked eye, it occurred the instant his sword absorbed the ice blade and fire. Art activated Realm Heart, startling both Sylvie and Silrit, and immediately struck again, throwing the second ice sword while conjuring an arc of lightning. Through Realm Heart, he saw the mana fluctuation within Silrit's greatsword shift mid-swing as it attempted to absorb both attacks. His sword could only attract one at a time. Silrit's eyes narrowed in annoyance, and Art was certain the retainer had realized his tactic. It didn't matter. He had found the weakness. Art seized the moment, capitalizing on Sylvie's plan. Hundreds of sparks, brilliant and blazing, hovered around them like a frozen firework display, illuminating the air with persistent light. Fatigue from maintaining the mana Art tried to seep into him, but he pushed it back, bolstered by Sylvie's determination. "I need to concentrate fully on maintaining this mana Art. Don't let Silrit near me," she projected. With a mental nod, Art surged forward, using a condensed blast of wind to accelerate. The coordination required was precise, but he committed fully. Silrit's eyes flicked nervously at the sparks of light surrounding him, yet his focus remained fixed on Art. A single ice blade materialized in Art's hand as he moved. Sparks beneath his feet solidified into platforms, letting him push off and shift direction sharply. Another spark became a platform, and another, until he was darting around Silrit, fast enough that the retainer momentarily lost track of him. "Now!" Sylvie's mental command rang sharp. Art pushed off a platform of mana directly behind Silrit, his ice blade poised. Even without his vacuum ability, Silrit's reflexes were formidable, at least equal to Art's, maybe better. He spun around, his massive sword moving with blinding speed. The mana within his weapon shifted, pulling Art's ice blade off course. Sylvie activated one of the nearby sparks of mana. A blinding beam of pure energy shot toward Silrit, just as Art's blade clashed with his. The retainer, unable to adjust his weapon fast enough, took the impact across his shoulder. The spell glanced off his armor, leaving an ash-gray scorch mark on the black metal. Art let the ice sword dissipate, concentrating mana into his fist and swinging at Silrit's face while releasing a bolt of lightning from his other hand. Silrit absorbed the lightning, but used his arm to block the punch. As he reeled, Art conjured a massive ice blade and struck. Off balance, unable to redirect, Silrit took the full force of the blow below his ribs. The mana around him mitigated some damage, but the blood at the corner of his lips confirmed Art's first successful strike. Art pressed on the offensive, blending sword strikes, spells, and hand-to-hand attacks with precision. "It's working," he thought to Sylvie. She triggered another spark, sending a blast of mana toward Silrit, while dozens of ice spikes rained down from Art's hands. Before either attack could connect, the retainer spun toward him. Art barely dodged a kick aimed at his face, though the force still scraped his shoulder. Tumbling mid-air, he tried to regain balance and noticed a black object hurtling toward him, Silrit's sword, drawing the ice shards along with it. He grabbed one of Sylvie's suspended sparks to stop his tumble. 4 other sparks aligned, forming a protective barrier between him and the dark blade. The sword pierced the mana barrier, shattering the ice spikes on impact. Art dodged the follow-up strike, but Silrit launched an explosive mid-air dash, swinging another kick. Art ducked just in time, imbuing his fist with lightning, only to have the energy pulled violently backward, redirected by the retainer's sword. Art braced himself, holding Silrit tight as the beams of mana streaked across the sky. The retainer struggled violently, trying to wrench free, eyes locked on the sword behind him. But Art's forehead collided with his again and again, forcing Silrit's attention back to him. "Static void," Art intoned. Time folded around them. The world froze in a swirl of suspended motion, the crackling beams of mana hanging in midair. Silrit's sword suspended inches from impact, and even Sylvie's flaring aura caught in place. Art's muscles tensed as he pressed the broken tip of Dawn's ballad into a small, precise gap in the retainer's armor, careful to maintain control of the spell. Every fiber of his being screamed in protest, but he forced the Evum to obey. The mana beams from Sylvie's attack lingered, locked in place around them, ready to strike the instant time resumed. Art's grip tightened, his mind a perfect calm amid the storm of frozen chaos. The world grew still again. The cluster of beams was inches away from them. Art tried prying himself away from Silrit, but the retainer had been holding onto the fur-lined mantle that Virion had passed down to him. Scrambling, already feeling the fatigue, Art pulled free of the cloak and dropped down out of harm's way, then released Static Void. Color shifted back to normal, and Art watched from a distance as Silrit's figure disappeared within the beams of mana. Damn, so much for not wasting my energy, he cursed himself. Silrit's abilities made it a bad matchup, and there was still much to be desired from the coordination between Sylvie and him. Their timing had been off at times, and because of the complexity, they were limited in the number of platforms they could utilize. However, they had managed to win without any serious injuries, a large improvement considering they had gotten their asses handed to them by Uto, the last retainer they had fought. Silrit's figure plummeted down into the canopy of trees and fog below, but with Realmheart, Art knew he was still alive. He shared a tired look with Sylvie as they prepared to finish their journey to the Elven Kingdom, when a mild shock pulse from within his pocket brought him to a stop. It was the transmission scroll linked with his sister. Art quickly unrolled it and read the short message now inscribed on the vellum. "Brother, please help. They're dying. Come quick." His hands trembled as he read and reread the message on the scroll. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't decide. He fumbled with the scroll, trying to shove it back into his pocket, but once that was done, he still floated there, irresolute. The silence lingered for several long moments before Sylvie's voice echoed in his head. "Arthur, let's go." Sylvie understood his struggle, but appeared to have made up her mind. She quickly shifted into her draconic form, swooped underneath him, and scooped him up. "We'll assume that the retainer was telling the truth for now. Right now, your sister needs us back at the wall. If you're enjoying this series, please give the video a like. It really helps others discover it. And if you'd like to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Want the next chapter? Comment next chapter below.